We haven't done a recommendation video for a while, so rather than recommendations of the month, we're going to do summer recommendations.
Yay!
Yay! Sparkle, sparkle. Okay, so same as our previous videos, we've got the same basic 5 tenets. We're going to talk about what we've read recently, what we've watched, what we've played, what we've listened to, and what we've worn. So let's start with what we read.
Okay, so my recommendation is The Realm of the Oldlings by Robin Hobb. It's a set of books. It starts with the Farseer trilogy and works its way from there. It's basically about a guy called Fitz who is a royal bastard. He also has 2 different kinds of conflicting magic, which sounds like he should be super good at everything, but he's a total failure, which makes it awesome. I recommend it because she's actually just finished the series this year, and I cried a lot, and yeah, I've got Mel into it. So basically, if you, it's sort of Game of Thronesy, but not quite so full of blood or boobs. But yeah, it's sort of high fantasy, medieval times, which is not my usual thing. But I found I really enjoyed it. So yeah, I recommend giving those a go, and I will give a picture of the whole lot here. Ta-da!
I'm actually going to recommend a couple of things, just because I don't have much to say about either of them, but I love them both. First things first, I'm going to talk about webcomics by Tab Kimpton. He's a fantastic guy.
Yay!
And I saw him recently at a con, at SunnyCon, and it reminded me of how much I love his work and how much I love him as a person as well. And I first started reading his webcomics. I read his Chaos Comics, and they're all about queer relationships. They have trans in there, they have gay, they have bi, everything that you could think to sort of see how the different aspects would work between relationships. He's delved into and sort of taking it from their particular thing. They're really good. And once he finished Chaos Comics, what I've heard him say is that he heard about / read, not sure if he actually sank to the level of reading 50 Shades of Grey, and decided that 1, he could do it better, and 2, he'd been hearing all about asexuality and he wanted to sort of delve into that and go from that website thing. So he made Shades of A. Now this has got a particularly special place in my heart, because this is actually how I figured out that I myself am asexual. So it's got a massive chunk of my heart developed to it, and it's so well written, and the art style is wonderful, and I would just recommend it to everyone.
We can link you in the comments what all that means.
I'm also going to talk about a book that I only picked up from a charity store because the front cover is so trashy.
Oh, that one.
It's called Door into Fire. It is the most absolute 80s fantasy cover I've ever seen in my life. I'm going to do a proper zoom in on that one to appreciate its trash. And it was literally a case of I had 1 book left from a buy 2 get one free book, and I went for that one because of the cover. And it actually turned out to be a fantastic book. I really love it, and I'm talking about it in the same place as my Shades of A and my Chaos Comics, because it's also, the world is so wonderfully queer. Because one of the main tenets of the world itself is that there really isn't a sexuality.
Okay.
Everyone is happy to sleep with anyone else. They call it sharing, and the only thing that matters is that it's consensual. It's just a surprisingly cute book for what ended up being about 40% porn.
The worst asexual.
I'm the worst asexual. But yeah, Door into Fire. I really like this series. I've only got the first one. I keep meaning to get more, and it's Diane Duane.
Okay, so what we have watched, I think this is a joint one.
Legion.
Legion is amazing.
We thoroughly enjoyed it so much, even though we spent the first 6 episodes going, what?
Well, it was basically, I'd heard about it because it's an X-Men sort of spin-off. It's in the X-Men world, and it's basically this guy is diagnosed with schizophrenia and is in a mental institution. And then basically, because it's all seen through his eyes, he's an incredibly unreliable narrator, which means what you see you cannot guarantee is happening. So you don't know what's real and what's not. So it was funny to see your face for the first episode,
So
especially. She was like,
weird.
"Why are you watching this?" I'm like, "I don't know."
We both got to the end of the first episode and went, that was really good. I have no idea what's going on, but I want to see what happens next. There are 8 episodes total. It's a short series. It's only 8 episodes. It's actually currently on Sky box sets, I noticed earlier.
I think it's on Amazon as well.
Yeah. We can't talk that much about it because spoilers.
Unfortunately, everything is a spoiler.
Pretty much.
Everything makes sense when you get to about episode 6 or
7.
7.
7.
And when you rewatch it, it's like, oh, that's what that was. It's very well done. The cinematography is amazing.
Beautiful.
And sort of the uses of light and certain sounds, and once you've watched it all the way through, you sort of understand what it means, and it's brilliant.
And then you go back and you watch it again. And again. We've watched it, what, 4 times now?
Yeah.
This is since it came out 4 months ago.
It's good.
For an individual one, I am going to say go and see Spider-Man Homecoming while it's still in cinemas. Because Spider-Man was sort of my first superhero. He's definitely one of some of the first comics that I read that weren't Buffy. And I love him. And this movie not only remembers that, yes, he's badass, and yes, he talks a lot, because thank you for getting the banter right, but he's a teenager and he's a dork. And this movie really sells his dorkiness, which makes me very happy. And I was quite glad that while it's got Tony Stark in there, he doesn't dominate the plot, which I was slightly worried about. In fact, he adds to it without overshadowing, and it worked really well. So while it's still in cinema, go watch Homecoming.
Play. So,
as mentioned before, I don't really video game. It's not a thing I do. I don't often board game. Except, when we were at a con earlier this year, we went to Sci-Fi Weekender, I picked up a copy of Codenames. Codenames I played for the first time at New Year's Eve, and we played something like 6 games over the course of the evening of Codenames, because it's just a lot of fun. It's one of those ones where you do have to be a little bit awake when you first start to get a handle on the rules.
yeah.
But it only gets funnier as people get more tired and more drunk. I know I say there's a lot for board games, but it's true. And the basic idea is that you'll have a set of tiles out, and they will have nouns on them. And then someone is the code master, and they have to link tiles together by saying one word. And
not the word that's on
not
the
the word that's on the tile. It's a word association game. And then the people on their team have to work it out without triggering a bomb or triggering the other side, at which point your game is immediately over. And it's all about thinking how your quizmaster thinks, or the quizmaster trying to think how his team thinks, which can make it tricky, but can also make it hilarious. And it's one of the few board games, it's not only the only board game that I own, it's one of the few board games that I will quite happily sit down and play.
My recommendation, because I don't particularly play video games and things, I prefer to watch people play them. It's a weird thing, but yeah, I've been watching Let's Plays by Markiplier, and he played through Prey. It's not something I'm usually into. It's basically aliens. Which is not my usual thing. And it's set on this spaceship, and the aliens that they sort of testing on managed to escape, and they're basically mimics, so I think what made it funny was just seeing him react to like the mimics themselves, because like there's not really that much in jump scares apart from the fact that the mimics can be anything. And so if you go to pick up a med kit and it happens to be an alien, you get attacked. But there's one room, and like this scientist had labelled everything that was not a mimic. The entire room was covered in post-it notes, and I was just like, I was off.
I'm reminded of that episode of Red Dwarf where it's that chain, it's moving!
It was really good. Like, it had a good story, and yeah, it actually got me watching something that has aliens in, so...
Which is hard.
It is.
Alright, cool. Listening to. In honour of the new Doctor, I'm going to try this new series and hope the writing's improved. I'm going to recommend a Doctor Who band called Chameleon Circuit. As far as I know, they only ever brought out a couple of albums, of which I have both. But I really like it. They're original songs, they're not parodies, and they're all Doctor Who themed, and they're really catchy. Some of them are actually kind of heartbreaking. They're mostly over the 11th Doctor's era, a little bit of 10th. And I just really like the singers, I like the way the songs link together, and they've always made me quite happy.
In a similar vein, I'm going to recommend Wizard Rock, which is a category unto itself on YouTube. It's again sort of songs written about the series, about the world. It's about everything Harry Potter. It can be about the characters, it can be anything. So my particular favourite ones are the Remus Lupins.
Shock.
Oliver Boyd and the Rememberals, and the Ministry of Magic. And there are several others. Moaning Myrtles, the Parseltongues, Tonks and the Auras.
I believe in a very old video where we did the Harry Potter trivia, Luke talked about Draco and the Malfoys.
Yes. So, I mean, there's absolutely loads out there, and there's basically anything for anyone's tastes, but if you're a Potter nerd, go and look it up. Next is To Wear. So my recommendation comes from Etsy, and it's a seller called Anrielle. I think that's how you pronounce it. She's from Europe, and she does these absolutely adorable little polymer necklaces, earrings. I had to think what I was looking at. Earrings, brooches, that kind of thing. She does custom made ones as well. I actually bought these on my payday because they're adorable. They are, I don't know if you can actually see them. What's the matter? Oh, I don't know if they're gonna... Oh, they will. There we go. Here's your little cutie. It's a newt and his suitcase, or a newt and his newt case. So yeah, I recommend looking her up, and actually Etsy's a terrible place that takes a lot of my money at the moment. But yeah, she does custom ones, she does different fandoms. I think there's Doctor Who on there as well. We've even found a Barton for you, which you might
There
be
is
getting.
a Clint baby?
There might be a Clint baby, I might get you that for Christmas. So yeah, definitely recommend her.
Alright, and I'm going to recommend a couple of items of makeup and things like that. We recently did Pride, and we decided to do sparkle for the day. And so we used Body Shop Dazzler. The Sparkler even. And it's basically an aerosolized body glitter. Not entirely sure how available it is, because admittedly I did get it at front of store reduced. But it's probably worth having a look on eBay and Amazon, see if it's still around, or see if you can find something equivalent, because you get a large amount of glitter in a relatively small amount of squidge, and it spreads our room sparkle for the next day and a half. And I'm going to use it for Jareth for the next year and a half, probably. I'm also going to recommend, I've been wearing a lot more nail polish recently because my nails have a tendency to snap, and it bugs me. And I may have picked up this one because of the pun name, because I'm awful like that. But I happen to know Barry M is a really good nail polish brand, and this one is the ultimate nail hardener, and it's base coat, and it's called Iron Manny. And yes, that might be why I bought it.
You're a terrible person.
But it's been working really well. I mean, this is the longest I have had my nails successfully without breaking in as long as I can remember. It's done really well for me, and I've just been using it just as a general coat of nail polish as well as for a base coat when I'm wearing something more colourful on top. It just protects your nails, it does help to harden them a lot, and I found it's really good for me, at least.
One day I can wear nail varnish, that'll be fine.
Oh. So yes, those are our recommendations from the last couple of months for summer.
Links down below for anything and everything.
We are sorry that we haven't done a video of this kind in a while, but if you do enjoy this kind of videos, let us know, send us a message on Facebook, drop us a comment on this video. We do videos, people who are new and may not be aware, we do videos twice a week. So yeah, thanks for watching, and we shall see you next vid.
Yeah.
Next con.
Bye.